Hi everybody. Welcome back to Willie's American Guitars Acoustic Room. I have some very interesting acoustics coming in that are due here, and keep your eyes open. One thing we got from our friends at Collings, now we're still waiting a long time for Collings to get them. They're one of those companies, they're building the finest guitars. I've said this before, they don't do cheap guitars. So they're not like, okay, we need a $2,000 guitar. How do we do that? They're just making great guitars, both electrics and acoustics. They've been hugely successful in their electrics, much to our surprise 20 years ago. This is a unique guitar. It's a Collings CW. Now, this stands for Collings Winfield. The Winfield, Kansas Bluegrass Festival is a big thing, so they're calling it a CW. It just so happens that that's the name of Clarence White. Clarence White CW. Clarence White was famous for enlarging his sound hole, and I'm going to hold these up. These are both made of the same materials. This is a used Martin D18 1937, and if you look at the sound holes, you can see this one has a much larger sound hole. That sound hole comes up and goes past the fingerboard. Clarence White famously had an enlarged sound hole and was just this mind-blowingly good bluegrass player. There's some other details about this in that it doesn't have any fingerboard inlay. It's just really clean that way, but it is bound, and you can see the binding inside the neck. So it's a bound neck, which they typically don't do on D18s. They don't. Martin never bound D18s. This one is bound. A little more decoration. It does make the side dots pop a little bit. You do have this enlarged sound hole, and they're doing that for headroom. Headroom, and headroom, and same in amplifiers and in acoustics, is when you play it like. It performs light, like an acoustical piano. Headroom can be defined as when you play something harder, the distortion, the crunch comes out, the volume comes out. It allows you to express differently if you're playing things lightly. But if you dig into it, you can hear all the guitars in the room resonate right along with this guitar. So, Adirondack spruce top on both of these guitars. Honduran mahogany on the back. This has a really cool neck. There's a lot of really neat wood grain on there. These are Waverly tuners on here, and you know, it's funny because we were just talking the other day. A set of Grover tuners that look exactly like this are about $69, and a set of Waverlys are $500. They're identical. All of that, yeah, it's all in the engineering and the quality of materials and the quality of the metals and what they do. It's just very fluid. So the Waverly tuners on these Collings is all about the quest for the best. And Adirondack spruce, we've talked about this. That's right now it's illegal to cut Adirondack trees. You got to use windfall and timbers. Long notes, loud volume. The enlarged sound hole has a lot to do with that, and this just came in. Now, those tuners are an example of part of why Collings will ask real money for this. This is $73.75. This came in too, and this has been this is a neat guitar. This is a 2019 D18 39 Authentic. And the 39 Authentic has a little skinnier board. It's not 1 3/4, it's 1 11/16, and that is just like so thin. But that 1/16 of an inch around your hand, you can tell right away when you pick it up. Now, I prefer 1 11/16 myself. It's the same nut width you'd have for late 40s guitars. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all those famous guitars of Gibson and Martin are 1 11/16 on a 39. In a 37 reissue, it is the wider fingerboard. Martin is not to be outdone tone-wise. This is also an Adirondack top. They both have 25.5-inch scale lengths, unbound neck, and Martin too has a tremendous rumble to it. Long sustain. This is a copy of a 1939, and by a copy of that, it is Adirondack top, aged back end sides. The authentic series is all aged bracing, and is probably the finest thing Martin is making. You can't tell by looking at it because it's all about the woods, baby. This is a $4,500 guitar, and then this Clarence White we waited 2 years for. In this case, there is no best. These are different sounding guitars. I hear a little more high end, a little tighter high end. I hear a little different bass. Is it better? No, not necessarily better, but they are two different tasting animals. And so there you go. We just got in this brand new Clarence White, CW. That is for Collings Winfield. And then this Martin 1939 authentic. These are, if you're looking for finest, this is it, baby. This is one of those, both of these are those type of guitars that just rumbles. And if you're looking for that kind of thing, here we are. See you soon.